All right, great. Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, this is Sanjeev Mota from B&K Securities. Welcome to another session of our ideation series. We have with us the management team of Radico Khaitan. We have Mr. Abhishek Khaitan, the managing director. We have on his left Mr. Amar Sinha, the chief operating officer. On his right is Mr. Dilip Bhatia, CFO, and Mr. Sanjeev Banga to Mr. Bhatia's right, who's President International, and Mr. Saket Somani, VP Finance. Right? So we have the entire team. Thank you, gentlemen, for participating in this and giving us your valuable time. Abhishek, I'll start by saying, your father has said, once in a while that we are in the business of making people happy. And, you've obviously made your shareholders pretty happy over the last few years. The whole point of today's conversation was that how is it, is the happiness stop here or we have further to go? What is the journey looking like? So as I said, we'll keep this discussion very strategic. I'll do most of the question and Pareen will have maybe a few questions after that. What I'll do, maybe just start before I come to the company itself. Let's just talk a bit about sector because it's a slightly more complicated sector with all kind of regulations and so on. So let's just start with the sector. What do you think are the key trends that you're seeing? Because still early days for this sector in India.
First of all, when I see our sector, the liquor sector,
yeah,
I think our sector is just merging now, because especially with the internet culture and also the middle class emerging, and especially 50% of the population, which is women, now also have started drinking, or like drink is no longer a taboo.
Right.
So the trend, what we are seeing is with the income level rising, the trend is more towards the premium side of the portfolio. That means premiumization is happening quite fast. And if I see 5-10 years down the line, I think the pace will get stronger only. And also, like if you see globally, 30% of the sector of our alcohol industry is in white spirits.
Right.
Whereas in India, it is still under 5%. But now, especially with the women also coming in and the younger population coming in, I see the white spirits catching a lot of ground, like the vodkas, like the flavored vodkas. Like recently, we've seen even gin. Gin is getting very, very popular nowadays. So I think the trend is clearly towards the premiumization, because what I've always believed that our industry is a luxury industry, and it's more of a lifestyle. So the better your products, people are ready to spend that money.
Right. And in terms of growth over next 5-10 years, so you as you said, it's just starting. So is there any how much is the industry you think growing, and especially the premium part that you talked about, or how much would that grow, you think?
I think on a normalized basis, if we leave COVID aside, I think our industry should witness a volume growth of about 8 to 9% year on year, and where the premium side of the portfolio should be in double digits.
And you're also saying that white spirits will grow even faster than that?
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And you mentioned about some of the changes, we have seen, for example, more women drinking, or it's probably becoming more socially acceptable to drink. So those are clearly some of the trends. Do you think COVID changed anything? For example, are people drinking more at home now than they used to? What are you gathering?
See, what I feel is COVID definitely has changed. Like, the drinking at home has become more popular. And what happens when you go to a restaurant to drink? You spend, like, for 2 pegs, you spend a bottle. That means when you order at your home, say a bottle of is 1,000 rupees, but for the same thing, you'll be spending about 500 to 700 rupees a peg. Right. So I think that is where the premiumization will happen, and plus it's only a start, but the home delivery also should pick up in the next 4 to 5 years. So I think the premium side of the portfolio will start increasing because of this, the home
Right.
consumption.
Right. So home consumption is going to lead to further premiumization, which was already anyway happening. You're saying that's interesting. Yeah.
Yes.
Sure. So given that industry, and one question on the industry, last question on the industry, does politics have always played a role in terms of policies? Different people have different. Is that has that coming down? You think that most political parties are now quite okay about this whole drinking, and or you think that's still a challenge?
See, if we see it from a larger point of view, like our industry is the largest revenue source for any of the state government now,
Right.
especially after GST.
Hmm.
And every state, because of COVID, the revenues are down. So has to depend on the liquor industry.
Hmm.
And there are 28 states are like 28 different countries. So suppose if some state goes dry because of some political this thing, but we've always seen the material goes from the neighboring states because the states have a porous border.
Hmm.
And also what the governments have realized, which we are quite this thing is during the COVID, especially because of the media where they were showing the huge queues when the liquor shop opened, which would have been in any kind of even a food essential. If you close for 40 days, there would be a
Yes.
line. So
Right.
that time, each government thought that this is a milking cow and had introduced a COVID tax. But sooner they realized that if they make it too prohibitive, the sales volume will decrease, and the states where they did not increase the taxes so much came back to normalcy in no time, like Uttar Pradesh.
Right.
So, so I think it's of the past. Like even if you see the latest trends, like Delhi has opened up, and Delhi had its conference today also. So they have opened up. They have increased the number of retail vends. They have privatized. They've gone away with the government shop, and especially Uttar Pradesh
Hmm.
has led the way. 4 years
Right.
back, when they opened up, the volume in Uttar Pradesh was 11 million cases, which is expected to be in the range of 122 to 23 million cases in spite of COVID. From
Wow.
a revenue base of 14,000 crores, just in a matter of 4 years, they are targeting 35,000 crores this year. So I
Wow.
think UP has led the way, and
Hmm.
very soon all majority of the states will encourage easy drinking.
Right. Yeah, that's again a very interesting trend. So I
Develop,
guess, yeah, sorry.
in a lighter term, people will be more happy,
Yeah.
responsibly happy.
Right. Yeah. And so, sir, coming to the organization now, so it's said that, industry will be growing. Let's come to the organization. You joined around 1998. Before that, like as a Rampur distillery, you guys were much more into commodity business. You brought in brand, and yeah, and things changed. So if you can just talk about that journey, where are you? How has if you can just talk a bit and slightly more detail in terms of how the journey has been, where are you now in that?
See, personally, like I joined the company in 1996,
Yes.
and from the beginning, from my school days, I did my schooling in Delhi Modern School. From
Hmm.
the schooling days, I was fascinated by liquor, though I didn't drink that much. I started in my college, and uh, I always wanted to create a brand. And as God said, luckily, I went for my engineering to Bangalore, and Bangalore is like the pub city of India. So everything fell in place. And when I finished my engineering, that time there was a split in my family, and our company was a very small company. We had a turnover of 100 crores, a liability of 45 crores, and hardly any profits.
Hmm.
And we were bottlers for Chauvelais, and the contract got over.
Yeah.
And I had to join the family business. So that's the time me and my dad decided that we should create a brand.
Hmm.
I believe that we were bottling for Chauvelais. We knew how to make a brand. Second is our biggest strength is our blend, because we have the largest distillery in Asia in Uttar Pradesh. Then we also have now in Maharashtra the largest plant. So blend has been our intrinsic strength of Radico. So the only thing we were lacking was a sales and distribution structure and marketing. And where I believe that I know what consumers want, because I think I did justice to my engineering days and visited a lot of pubs there. So that's the time when I joined back. I created a team of about 100 people, and the average age of the team was about 23 years old only, because we could not afford to get experienced professionals with high cost structure, and we wanted to upset the this thing where we felt that the younger guys can get newer ideas. And Amar was with me that time, and we both went and basically begged 7 people to bottle for us, and we conceived 8 p.m. whiskey, our first brand, and it was launched on 8th August 1998. Now, what we believe that we always have given consumer a younger taste, a modern packaging, and something which is different from the other competition which is offering. Like 8 p.m., I'll speak on 8 p.m. little bit. Starting from the name, it was unique because whether it is north, east, west, south, it's very easy to pronounce. Second, Indians usually drink at 8. And first time the guana cap was introduced there, and we came out with a very unique ad. It was a black and white ad. It was a border ad, and luckily we were nominated as the best ad of the century, and everything fell in place. And in the first year of launch itself, we did a million case, and in fact we came into the Limca Book of Records also that time. So that's how our journey began. And from 98 to 2006, we mapped out the entire areas where we want to be present, and we launched a couple of brands. And in a matter of 8 years, from 0 million, we became 10 million cases in 2006. And in fact, for 2 years, we were rated as the second fastest growing company in the world by the JP Morgan report. That is, I think, 2007, 2003, and 2003 and 4. So that was one part of the journey. Now, in 2006, we again we sat back and took that now where Radico has to become. Because what we saw that the margins in the regular range was decreasing, and the premium side is where the future lied. And also that time, there was Shaw this Vijay Mallya had taken Shaw and there was a dream of making 50 to 100 million cases. So we thought we cannot get into this race. So for us, the only way to survive would be to increase our margins, go on the premium side where your profitability is high. It's a painful journey, but it'll pay off. And that is the time our magic moment vodka was conceived. In fact, I was in Vegas that time, and Sydney Frank had launched Grey Goose, which he sold to Bacardi for $2.2 billion. That's the time I witnessed that in the nightclubs, ordering of the vodka bottle on the table had become a new rage. And it was a decorative item. And that is where first time, if you see Magic Moment Vodka, which we launched in 2007, the bottle, it had no label, it was printed on the bottle and everything. And we took a major step and priced it very high. And luckily for us, today Magic has become the largest selling vodka. In fact, any vodka starting from a regular range, which is a White Mischief to a Beluga, 60% vodka sold in India is Magic Moments.
Right.
So that is how premiumization drive happened. Then we launched our Morpheus brandy. Again, there was no brandy at this level. It is priced about 800 to 1,000 rupees a bottle. So there were whiskeys present, but no brandies at that level. And again, everything is unique about this bottle and everything. Like if you turn it upside down, like a cognac glass, the Morpheus.
Right.
And
yeah.
So,
yeah.
So what we've come out everywhere, it is a different, unique proposition which we have given to the consumer and priced our products higher than the competition. And again, Morpheus has been a runaway success. It's the largest selling premium brandy of the country, and we have a market share of about 60%. So, so this is how our premium journey started. Now, in 2016, again we took a step back and saw that now we did a SWOT analysis of the company. What we realized that our debt in the company was quite high, it was close to about 1,000 crores.
Yeah.
So what we did is we totally changed the game. We did a 360-degree study of the company, and we concentrated a lot on free cash flow. We developed a very robust mechanism of incentivizing the sales staff, where we directly knew that what it was all linked to EBITDA and collections, which really worked wonders for us. And it was a painful decision where we gave away a lot of volumes of us, which was non-profitable, which unlocked our working capital and made the company much healthier. And now when we sit back today, our volumes have increased, our premiumization has increased, and the company is virtually a debt-free. Our debt is, we paid about close to 750 crores in the last 4 years, and virtually we are a debt-free company. Also, then we realized that, India, we're a proud Indian company, and there's a huge scope for a single malt, like how the Japanese companies have taken the single malt industry by storm.
Yeah.
That is where we conceived our luxury products, which is Rampur.
Yeah.
So we started with our Rampur Indian single malt, which is the white one.
Yeah.
And we've launched 5 expressions of Rampur. In fact, we are proud. We launched a bottle of Rampur Chairman Reserve. Sakit, can you get that? And we priced it at about 1 lakh rupees a bottle. It's a special edition of 400 bottles, which got sold within 1.5 months.
Right.
And today, the demand of Rampur is so much where we have to allocate it. About 4 years back, we have tripled the capacity of our Rampur, our malt maturation plant and the malt plant. And hopefully by 23-24, we should have adequate stocks. And also, we've now got registered in the armed forces, because the BIO has been, because of the Make in India policy, BIOs are not there. Then the craft gin is one of the fastest growing segment in the world, where we came out about 2 years back with our Jaisalmer Indian craft gin.
Yeah.
And this also is priced at about 3,600 rupees a bottle, at par with Monkey 47, etc. It's on the top end of the craft gin market, and the brand has got exceptional response. So going forward, what I feel for Radico, I think the future is extremely bright, and what we are best at is creativity. Earlier, we did creativity with a lot of bag and baggage of debt, not having the operating leverage, etc. And today, luckily, we are away from everything, and our premium portfolio has become big. Just to give you terms of numbers, about 4 years back, our premium portfolio in terms of volume was 16%, which today is close to 30%. In terms of value, it was 30%, which has now become 50%. So going forward, we feel we are going to concentrate a lot on the premium side, where our existing brands, Magic, Morpheus, Rampur, and Jaisalmer. Also, we launched 8 PM Premium Black recently, which, in spite of COVID, in the second year, we touched 1 million cases. We did 1.2 million cases in last fiscal, and this year we will be close to about 2 million cases. So that is the bulk of the market, which is the semi-premium market where Royal Stag, etc. operates. So we've also now trying to get into the whiskey segment. So going forward, we are going to concentrate on the premium side, and we expect double-digit growth on the premium side for the next 5 to 7 years.
Right.
Also, in the second half of this year, we are planning to introduce a luxury whiskey, which will be one of its kind in the Indian market. Plus, also we want to upgrade the entire vodka, because we control 60%, so there'll be a very unique offering from our stable for the vodka also. So I think going forward, the future now looks very good. The company's balance sheet has become quite healthy, and I think we've made people happy now. I think Radico will be very happy.
Right. So that's great, and I'll come back to some of the points that you raised, and I'll probably ask a bit deeper. But just going back to the organization now, as an organization, from a management team perspective, from capacity perspective, everything, are you now ready for this growth? Like, how is the organization structured? And
Right
do you
now,
need to
like
fill any gaps?
right now, yeah. See, as far as the capacity goes, 50%, more than 50% we outsource. So I think there is enough capacities outside which we can take. So capacity is not an issue. As far as distribution goes, I think our distribution would be equivalent to any of the top companies. And for us, if you see last 3-4 years, why the numbers have increased rapidly is because the operating lever has kicked in. So my same team, which is doing about say 24, 25 million cases with a little addition here there, is capable of doing 40, 50 million cases. So I think our team is well equipped, and in fact, we would be the only company which in the last decade launched 12 brands, out of which 11 are in the premium range, semi-premium plus range, and have been successful.
Right.
So team-wise, I think we are very well equipped.
Right. Coming to one other aspect, which is again not in the business realm necessary, which is on the ESG side. And again, and I must compliment, I think your annual report is fabulous. In fact, a lot of the questions I'm asking you answered there already. I just wanted to get your, a personal feel on that. So that's why I'm asking you some of these questions. But, your annual report is really amazing this time. So, but you also talked about a bit about ESG, but what does ESG mean to you? What are you doing about it?
Yeah. Thank you for the annual report. I think Dilip and Saket get that credit. And Dilip, would you like to say about the ESG?
Yeah. So actually, we have always been an environment-friendly company. We've always been on the processes which protect the environment, which sustain the values and all that. But now, looking into the emphasis, the disclosure has been made properly, and in coming years, we are going to give you more and more disclosure on our ESG footprint, where we are taking a lot of steps. Now, the point is, we have been a ZLD company, the zero liquid discharge company, for last more than a decade, right?
Right.
At that time, even the requirement of this ZLD was not there by the pollution control department, etc. But we have made our distillery to a ZLD kind of thing. Everything is being recycled in my company in Rampur, which is whether it is the water, we recycle. That's how we have reduced our water intake, and it is, I think, one of the lowest in producing at 1 kl of 1 liter of alcohol. We are using the lowest water from the Mother Earth, which is now, it used to be around 12 liter per liter of alcohol a 4 year back. But with the CPU and so many modern technology being used, all the water is getting recycled and being used. At the same time,
It's come down
what?
to 6.
Yeah, so it is now 6, more than half, and it is lowest in the industry. As far as the water recharging is concerned, we are giving a lot of emphasis on that to have what we draw the water from the Mother Earth. We contribute 3 times of that 300% recharging within our plant. At the same time, looking at our experience and all that, we have also constructed 127 recharging well across our plant. That's how we have uplifted the water level in Rampur area by a meter. So, which is a remarkable thing. This has been also noted by the State Pollution Control Board, that the upliftment of water has been there. Going forward, keeping in our experience on that, we are further actually consolidating on that and taken a project with one of the very renowned VVKI, which is the AOL Art of Living NGO, where we are working with them as well as with the government to actually recharge the water in the, this is Rampur is around 23-24 million population, and there 24 lakhs population, sorry. So where we are covering more than 490 villages in that, and more than 12 to 13 lakh people will be benefited by the upliftment of that. This is a project of 20 crores and all that, where we are also involving government, we are also involving the, and people will be trained, educated, and there will be a regular this thing so that they can actually implement it in their own area. So there will be training session, there will be expert going there, educating them, making them known. So water has been one of the area. At the same time, our plant is the most energy efficient plant. We use around 74% of the energy from our captive power plants, which is by using the biofuel gases, which is the actually carbon emission is zero in that. Again, on 27%, we are also have a plan to convert that also carbon free from our own fuel gases. That's how this plant will be in due course of time, completely carbon emission, no carbon emissions. We are going to do that. So we, with our suppliers, with all sustainability are one of the biggest district. We are even started rating the supplier on the basis of the recycling and all that, on their sustainability model. So we are also going and trying to do fair trade practices certification in due course of time. So these are the areas we are working very, very hard. At the same time, the small steps like having 10,000 and more than 10,000 trees in a year in Rampur and vicinity area, those drive we keep doing. On the regular marathon we do. Social side, we have done a lot of work. In COVID time, we have done the services to the whole state by supplying the sanitizer at zero cost to all the hospitals wherever it was required by the state. After that, we have also commissioned 6 oxygen concentrates as generators in 6 of the government hospital in the district. So all these, and governance we are continuously improving. So ESG is one of our very, very prime focus area, not only at the top management, even at the middle management and at grassroots level. We are training every level of the employees on this ESG concept, sustainability, environment friendly, and the growth for all with sustainable and I think judicial way.
Sure. No, that's great. Thank you, Mr. Bhatia, for that detailed one. Abhishek, last question, and this is slightly more personal question, and then I'll come back to the business, which is, I know your wife runs a listed company, and I'm sure there's a healthy rivalry in that between you. But as a family, are there any other businesses that you are planning to get involved in?
Actually, if you see, from the time I joined business, the only business I like and I do is alcohol. And that has been the only business of the family.
Right.
And I think there is so much of scope left in this business. So I think as of now, no diversification. And I think alcohol will be our mainstay.
Right. Sure. So let's come back to the company and, slightly longer term strategy on that. First is that, you talked about how 1998 you became branded, but you still have some bit of unbranded business in the company. What is the plan with that?
See, we have the country liquor business in the state of Uttar Pradesh,
Right.
and UP has been our traditional market. So from 98, we have never expanded the country liquor business apart from Uttar Pradesh. So I think going ahead also, it will continue. And that business will be restricted only to the area of UP, because
Right.
we give a lot of revenue to the state. And to get away from this business becomes very tough. But definitely, we are not going to expand this business anywhere, which we have not done in the last.
It does require resources.
Plus, see, the most important point is that any distillery present in the state of UP has to produce country liquor for the state requirement, because
Right.
they generate revenues from it. So
Right.
that's how we are present in this business. And for us, it is a no-cost business where everything that we sell is on cash.
So low margin, but require least of the resources
That's right.
and in steady state.
Right. Sure. So, which means that as other businesses grow, this will keep becoming smaller as it is. So that's what
Yes.
will happen, right? Yeah. Okay. Second thing was, I guess Mr. Banga is also here on your international strategy. You are exporting to quite a few countries, and what is the plan there? I hear you are also setting up some plants because of local requirements somewhere. So what's the plan? How big can exports be?
In fact, before Sanjeev steps in, I would like to say that last year, very happy to say that Radico became the largest exporter of IMFL from India.
Correct.
Our volumes were higher than any of the competition.
Right.
Thanks, Abhishek. In terms of our current exports, our brands are available in 85 countries across, starting from New Zealand, Australia, all the way to US, as well as South America. And we've got a plethora of brands which are not only not available in the domestic market, but exclusively for the overseas market. However, our key focus is our luxury portfolio, which is essentially Rampur and Jaisalmer, and a couple of other luxury brands that we will launch in future as well. So in terms of, if I was to look at the potential for export, that's huge. If I confine myself to the luxury brands, we've just reached tip of the iceberg. As Abhishek mentioned, we tripled our malt capacity a couple of years ago, and today it's only on allocation. So of the 85 countries that our brands are available, Rampur is only available in about 42, 43 countries. So we've not even touched our existing markets because it's strictly on allocation. So that's one side. Once we have more malt available, we will be expanding. Global travel retail becomes very big for us, for both Jaisalmer as well as Rampur. So there is still a lot of market to cover in terms of our luxury portfolio. And our intention is to take the best India has to offer to the world. So all our brands in the luxury portfolio are talking about Indianness. In fact, our latest expression of Rampur, which is Rampur Asawa, is the first single malt in the world that has been finished in an Indian wine cask. So we want to give to the rest of the world what India has to offer. And the same is true for our Jaisalmer gin as well. We use 11 botanicals in Jaisalmer, of which 7 have been sourced out of India. So there's a mystique about India, and we want to cater to that mystique. And hopefully very soon, Indian single malt will also be as big a category as the Japanese single malt. That's one side on the luxury. On our rest of the portfolio, yes, in some markets, our brands are the market leaders in the international markets. And we are actively looking at possibilities of expanding our footprint over there by possibly local bottling options as well, because in any case, taxation on liquor or alcohol is the highest anywhere in the world. So at times it does make sense to go for local bottling operations now that we have a very large base in some of those markets. So we would explore, yes, COVID has delayed or slowed the whole process. Once things get back to normal, we would be actively looking at those possibilities as well.
Right. But would you say exports will grow faster than the domestic market for you as a company?
I think in terms of our portfolio, both the markets are very important for us. The potential in the international market as well as domestic market. Now let's be honest to ourselves. India as a market is huge. So it could be 30, 40, 50 countries put together in one market itself. And we've got the distribution strength in India. So I think both the markets, whether it is the domestic or international, will complement each other. Eventually, it is Radico. The growth will come into Radico, wherever it comes from.
Sure. So coming back to domestic, and you've even your annual report heading is like high on premium, right? And you've talked about premium. You've reached 50% of value in terms of sales now in premium. But we also hear the same kind of story from United Spirits or some of the other guys who say that we are all going to focus on premium. Is there an opportunity to actually do a bit of other also, at least in the whiskey side, where our market share is still a bit low? That can we actually, if let's say United Spirits vacates the space a bit, is that a possibility to actually grow that business faster?
Yeah, actually, this is what it's a very interesting question. 2016, that's what the study we did in Radico, where even in the regular range, we are present only in only in those states where your contribution is high. Us to get the volumes is very easy. But what we are chasing is a profitable growth. So with the regular range where the pricing is good, only those are the states we are concentrating. So our focus is going to be the same irrespective of any of the competition, because we feel the delivery what we have done in Radico in the premium space, we have outsmarted the competition. So our stay is going to be in the premium side, especially with our new launches, and the regular range wherever we get opportunities where the contribution is high, we'll stick to those states.
Right. So, I guess you've done very well on vodka, as you said, on gin, on brandy. Whiskey also, while you've done well, but your market share still is low. And, is that a big space for you to grow that business much faster? And is Rampur, for example, what you're talking about? But that's still a very niche brand. So what would be your whiskey strategy over next few years?
So let me take this one.
Yeah.
See, if you really look at the history of Radico, ever since Abhishek spoke to you since the inception, Radico actually moved forward only with its premiumization strategy. First of all, when 8 p.m. was launched as a whiskey, the price positioning of 8 p.m. was much above the regular set. So it led the price category at that point of time. And since then, till today, Radico has always followed the price leadership strategy in every category.
Right.
If you look at the brand portfolio composition, before I answer your question finally, if you look at the brand portfolio composition, vodka, Radico is the market leader, and the price positioning of vodka is at a much higher point compared to any other vodka available in the market. So we lead the price in the category there. Similarly, and in terms of market share as well, as we said, now we got a market position, leadership position in vodka. We have a market leadership position in rum with our two major brands, with a 40% market share in Contessa rum and 1965 Spirit of Victory rum. We lead the market in that category. There also, we've launched 1965 premium rum at a much higher price, where we are trying to change the perception of rum with the price positioning. This is the real premium rum that sells now in India. So, brandy again, if you see, we have a market leadership position there as well, with the highest price brand, which is Morpheus. Now, in all these categories, vodka, brandy, and rum, Radico leads the market both in terms of market share and price.
Right.
Having said that, we believe that this is the way to go. So price leadership will always be our focus for all new brands that we are bringing in. And there are many on the drawing board right now. Having done very well with the whiskey segment, also with the launch of 8 p.m. Premium Black, which hit 1.2 million cases in just about 18 months of its launch, and is considered and is rated as the fastest growing whiskey brand. We are now all poised to take advantage of the whiskey category opportunity. We are just about less than 10% of the whiskey potential of this country. which is 65% of the consumption habit. Now, as opposed to any other company who've already filled all the gaps, we are yet to upscale the premium position of the category, where we will be bringing out brands. There are 3 whiskies which are already on the drawing board. One of them is going to be the finest blend ever launched from India, a blended whiskey in the third quarter of this fiscal year.
Right.
So that's one that we will fill, and this product will compare in its positioning in terms of its pricing with international brands. That's the kind of quality we are trying to bring in.
Right.
Following that, there are 2 other whiskies which are also being looked at to fill the market gap, and they are all priced one above other. So that's how we are gearing up to exploit this big whiskey opportunity as well.
Right. Sure. Thanks for that. So, actually coming to, given that you've kind of reached now close to zero debt, as you said, you'll be throwing free cash now, starting maybe this year or next year. And if I look at your growth plans, you already have, growth plans, but they may not be that capital intensive. So what are you planning to do with the, cash that is generated? Will you do more, let's say, would you do acquisitions? Because if, I remember I see one of your interview where you said the industry could get consolidated and some of the weaker players may go out. So would you be kind of trying to take over some of the gaps which are there and fill those with tuck-in acquisitions, or what's the plan there?
See, personally, like acquisition, I'm not in favor of, because what we feel that what Radico has created organically
Right.
and in such a less time is far superior. And secondly, even if we map out the entire liquor space, there are hardly any premium brands which are there for acquisition.
Sure.
And as far as Radico goes, we are not going to acquire a regular age brand and reduce the EBITDA margin. So acquisition as of now looks a no-go for us.
Right.
So the excess cash which will come will be either used, depending on the board's decision, either for a higher dividend or a buyback. As
Okay.
of now.
Fair point. All right. So if I then look, and last point on just the strategy, CSD, as you just alluded to a few minutes ago, that Make in India is becoming a bigger theme here. So CSD, is that still a pretty large opportunity, especially for the premium ones?
I think for the luxury market, especially Rampur and Jaisalmer, it's an ocean. There's a
Right.
huge opportunity, but like Jaisalmer, we expect our brands has got registered in the armed forces, like it's got accepted, and hopefully within a couple of months we should be there in the army. And Rampur is getting allocated, so only 23, 24 we can see the true potential of Rampur, but CSD can be big.
Right. Fair point. So I guess I'm just trying to sum everything that we've spoken together. So if I look at next 5 years, how would you, so what kind of top line growth you think? And I'm not going to hold you for it, but just ballpark, do you think in 5 years you could double your turnover, or what are you looking at?
See, turnover-wise, I've not given it a thought process, because our main objective is to increase our premium side of the portfolio,
Correct.
which
Right.
in value terms today is 50. We would like it to be near the 60 range
Right.
in next 3 to 4 years. And volume-wise, I think if situation remains stable, our premium side should grow in double digits
Right.
for the next 5 years.
Sure. So, which also means that the margins should actually get better, because as you get more premium, I know you still spend on ads, which you're doing, but overall the margins you think should actually improve as you grow premium?
If you see last 3 years, our margins have been increasing year on year. And
Yeah.
I think with the premiumization strategy playing up in the next 2 to 3 years, I think we should be the late teens,
Right.
the margin.
Right. But what do you think of the ethanol situation? Because, government is now pushing more and more on ethanol policy on blending. So is there a structural kind of shift on higher prices for your raw material?
See, definitely the raw material price in the last 2 years have taken a major jump, but as they say, water find its own level. So we've also shifted a lot into grain. A lot of grain capacities have come up, and the production also has gone up. And I think as of now, we feel that these prices are stable, like maybe a little benign only.
Right.
And going forward, I think any hike in the price would be offset by premiumization or
Right.
price increases.
Right. So I guess to sum up what you're saying is, you'll have a growth, you're not giving a number, and your premium would go from, let's say, 50% to 60%. Margin should be in like close to very high teens. And you think that, the ethanol is not, and then from a balance sheet perspective, what you're saying is the cash that you're going to throw out will mostly be used for dividend or buyback. It's not much acquisition. Is that so? That's what I can summarize, right?
Yes.
Sure. Okay. So I guess that's it from me. Parin, why don't you take over?
Sure. Largely, most of the questions are covered. Just two questions I have from my side. So we've been always under-indexed on the western zone of the country. And we do talk about penetration increase and the touch point increase that we want to do. But I wanted to understand your vision on how do we look at the West India as a market? Does it have an appetite for such premium brands? How are you perceiving this particular market?
Western India.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me tell you, right now, if you look at it, the western part of the country, particularly Maharashtra, it is actually a very good market for premium brands. Not only for Radico, but for others also. If we look at Magic Moments vodka as such, we have a very high market share in excess of 60%. And in the relevant category, in the premium most segments, we have a 90% market share as well in the same category. So there is an appetite for premium products in Maharashtra. There have been some changes in excise policy in the last few years, because of which there have been consumer price fluctuations and some brands have taken a beating. But that's actually now going back to normalcy. And the government is very optimistic of getting back revenues from this business, because what's happening is that ever since the GST era has come, the real control of every state on funds is only from revenues from liquor. So wherever there have been some disruptions temporarily, they're all trying to set it right so that the revenues from liquor keep growing. And right now, let me tell you, the growth in the liquor business is only northwards coming from premium brands. Because in the lower segments, the cost inflations have hit you very hard. And therefore, the market for only premium brands is there to grow in the times ahead. So yes, Maharashtra, Goa, where a lot of tourism happens, they're all going to see brands that are upscaling. So yes, it's a big opportunity for us. Even for the new premium brands that we talked about, Maharashtra is going to be a focal point for us.
Got it. And so a lot has been spoken about the online ordering since the COVID has come through channel partners, etc. I wanted to get your long-term view about the sustainability of online ordering of liquor, if it is possible, and what kind of channels do you think the supply that you need to maintain? So your view on this particular platform.
So see, to tell you the truth, online model has just taken shape. Some states have allowed it. Some are in the process of considering it. But wherever it has been allowed, it is facing its usual teething problems. It was a blessing in disguise that the government looked at the online model while there was this whole epidemic that set in into the country. So there is an opportunity, a new channel that has been introduced. Like any other new business, this is also facing its initial teething problems. But moving forward, in the next couple of years, online, like any other country abroad, will find its place. The governments will also realize it will go through various changes in the policy of delivery, payment mechanism, and it will settle down. But it'll take its little time. It's a very progressive step taken by the government. And what this is going to do is it will only increase consumption because of the convenience of delivery and consuming at home, which is now the in thing that's really happening. As Abhishek mentioned, consumption at home has increased consumption of premium brands. And premium brand consumer normally today either consumes it at premium pubs and lounges or wants to have it at home. So this has a great opportunity for premium brands moving forward, and particularly for the young ladies, the working class. This is a great opportunity to offer, make an order in leisure and consume it at home. So we see that going forward, this is a very progressive step, and it has great scope in the times ahead.
Yeah. Just to add what Amar said, from global experience in the evolved markets, online is anything between 8 to 15% of the market. So yes, it takes time, but eventually India is also going to come to that stage. And so it's a very important channel for the future.
And also what I feel like, especially for the women, it's a very good tool because unluckily, like in our country, the liquor shops are not that great, like what is in the Western world. So I think it will really boost the sale from the women point of view. But it'll take time. It'll take time. It's not but at least it's a step in the right direction.
Got it, sir. That's all from me, sir.
So there are a couple of questions that have come through, so I'll just maybe ask those, right? So one is, can you please share the brands we bottle for still through our JVs? Is there anything that we bottle through our JVs?
So all brands are owned in Radico.
Right. Sure. Second question was on exports. One is already answered. The third question, so that's on exports. What are the key challenges of exporting these premium brands?
Well, at the moment, the biggest challenge is to get the containers, and the freight rates are phenomenal, increased phenomenally. But then I guess it's a short-term thing, and we hope in the next couple of years, couple of months, things will go back to normalcy. In terms of exporting these brands, the first and the foremost was to convince the global consumers that India can produce world-class products. And that's slowly and steadily going away. Now people are looking at India as a producer of quality spirit products as well. And as I mentioned earlier, there is that mysticism about India, which people are willing to experiment, innovate, and try. So I think it's not that difficult anymore. Yes, you have to have the right packaging, but more important, the liquid inside. As we say, from liquid to lips and from lips to the heart. That's the key thing. And people have very well accepted the Indian products, not only Radico, but other producers as well. So for Indian beverage alcohol industry, it augurs pretty well that the global market is slowly and steadily opening up.
It's a couple of more questions that have come to me directly. One was on on competitive landscape. You've seen some of the new smaller players coming. For example, in Goa, you have, let's say, a whiskey player or a gin player and so on. What are you seeing on the competitive landscape overall?
I think with these players, I think the more players come in, it's better for the industry because more noise is created. Like if you see the gin has exploded huge. Right. Like for us, when we launched our Jaisalmer in Delhi, which is at 3,600, there is a local player which is at about 1,200. We've already got 40% of the market. So I think with these local players coming in, it'll create much more positive noise for whichever sector they come in.
Right.
And as far as the local players, for them to scale up would be their biggest challenge. And to go all India, because then your overheads, everything increase. But I think it's a very good sign of the niche segments coming in India. Like, to give you an example, when we launched our vodka, the flavors, it took me 3 years to sell 6,000 cases of flavors per month. And today now, our flavors is outsmarting the normal vodka. And we've got now 8 flavors with us.
Right. Wow, that's great. Last question. This is so. If there is a change in, given that you are so strong in UP, given if there is a change in the UP government, looks very unlikely, I think, though. But if there is, what would that mean anything at all?
It is all relative. Is first of all, any government which comes into power to have 35,000 crores of revenue is a lot of money for anyone to do so. I think to tinker with the policy will be very tough. And I think the brands have become very strong. So I don't think so there should be an effect.
Yes, that's right.
I think that's fair. So, sir, anything that we've missed out, you wanted to kind of share? We've not asked you.
The only thing I can say, luckily, we are in an industry which is not that affected by COVID. And we've seen that as things are normalizing, there is what we call as a revenge buying. So here people are also now going out, and the sales, etc., are coming back more than expected. So I think hopefully if everyone is the third wave does not hit us, I think it's good time for Radico.
Sure. No, I think as I said, as you said, you're in the business of making people happy, and I think as long as they are happy, shareholders will be happy also. I guess wish you all the very best in this journey, sir. So,
Thank you, Sanjeev. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you for your time. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.